Here, you.
Haunted Tomb. When you Atlas warp, and end up here, snake around back here. For this section, don't go too deep for this 10 gem back here. Like that's a little bit too far. You can play this a little bit more aggressively and flop. You want to take as quick of a line into there as possible. For Haunted Tomb, there's one route I'm going to teach. There's a different route. It's not stable, it'll crash sometimes. And at this point, there have been some slight optimizations of the route I'm going to show you. So it might be on par with the slightly faster route. Regardless, let's get right into it. First thing you're going to do is hold left. And once you've pivoted, you're going to just charge. Sparks will clean up everything around you. Curl around here. And we're going to run onto this button. Try to be a little bit more center. That's what I do. I feel like sometimes you can kind of like whiff it. A couple different ways you can handle this. You can do the slow way or the backup way, where you wait for it like this. As soon as it goes up, jump. It might not be high enough to reach this platform just yet from a jump. So what you can do is jump off and jump back on like that. Charge off. Go like that. Make sure you're not on the edge of the platform so that you don't flop off, and make sure to watch your head on the top. So you don't want to flop like that because I was touching the wall. So there is a faster version. You don't have to wait for the door to come back up. For this, after charging straight over, you're going to charge, jump, flop in midair. You're going to want to aim for the center of this Ankh here. And as you're kind of flopping, I like to hold forward to keep going forward. And then you're going to rotate that into left and then down as you land. You're going to jump off and kind of fade back a little bit. And then glide on over. And you're going to make it. Now, the middle of the Ankh is kind of a sweet spot. If you're too far right, you might actually not make it with your glide. And if you're too far left, you can flop off or hit your head on the ceiling. If you're too far left, it's a little bit more forgivable. You can kind of just fade back more and make it happen. See, I even kind of grazed the wall there, and I was still fine. Sometimes you can get it, and you'll still end up a little bit low. Like I said, just back up with what I showed you initially. Sandbag your movement a little bit for these gems. You can actually miss one of the 5s if you go too fast into this portal. Didn't show it off there, but you're slightly faster, you can have an issue. So if you're right, jump a little bit, do whatever you gotta do. So Agent 9 here, I'm going to show you 2 different methods for the skip. I genuinely do not recommend doing this casually. This is actually kind of difficult section of the level. If you're at all messed with strafe pumping, zigzag, you're definitely going to want to do this. Even if you hadn't, this is probably a good place to pick up some. So first off, I'm going to show you the faster method. So right when you load in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold L1 and left. So it's going to move me, I'll just show you a little bit. It's going to move me over here, kind of more towards this, I don't know, skull. And a little bit before it, I'll show you a way to time it in a little bit. I'm going to roll my thumb again on the D-pad. And I'm going to begin strafe bumping. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit it 5 times. I'm going to shoot over here, and then I'm going to roll back from upright to up left into here, maybe into pure left. It kind of depends on my entry. So it's going to look, let me get this off the screen. It's going to look something like this. Like so. So that was very good. You don't want a lot of height. It's very easy to get a lot of height. Sometimes it even happens to me. What can happen is if you go a little bit further, like I did there, before hitting the wall, you can kill a little bit of your height, I find. As opposed to, sometimes you'll get height like that. That's still even kind of tame compared to what can happen. You can actually jump over this barrier, which is a bit of an issue, because you'll die. And it's a long death. If you go really crazy, you can do that. So this is a situation that's going to happen to you, especially when you're starting out. If this happens, exit the area immediately. It's faster to exit the area and come back in than it is to die. It's a long ways down. So this is the fastest way to do this. This is the method that I use, stole from Nitroff. There are a couple different other methods you can use. I think like Nerf goes like in here and then zoops around or something. It's a little bit just out of my scope. What I'll find is I prefer just this method. Sometimes you'll screw up and you'll go and talk to this dog. If you're comfortable with this fast method, I recommend just mashing through his dialogue. Get the riddle wrong, he's never going to talk to you again. Go back. Rinse and repeat. If you're not comfortable with this, do the riddle. The riddle is up 1 footsteps and go on through. Ideally, what you're going to want to do... let me back up. So, to time when to start your strafe pumping here, you can hold... This adds a little bit of complexity, and it might be good for like training wheels when you're first starting off. Hold circle, and basically once you get the second shot to ricochet, it can maybe be like at the second shot, that's when you want to start your strafe pumping. So, strafe pump. And maybe a little bit after that. There. Something like that. Again, this adds to some complexity and you're holding more buttons down while having to press a bunch more buttons. But once you get the general feel for it, you can obviously take the training wheels off. Now, when you're up here, again, before I get into the easier strategy, when you're up here, I like to orient myself kind of in this direction. Basically, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to start strafing up left, like this, before I go into my up right strafe pump. And I'm basically just going to be hugging this barrier all the way through to the other side here. So this is a good safe state. It's going to look something like this. And note how I'm kind of almost zigzagging my D-pad. I'm kind of trying to go along the curvature. And kind of wind with it. So if I had speed, I'd go like this, into this, kind of almost back and forth. And again, moving more right as I'm kind of going around the bend. And then I'll double tap R1 to kind of get my speed back up if I'm slowing down. And again, if you're going backwards, try hitting a different direction. So let me take this from the top here. I feel like I'm in a wrong spot. Maybe I end up closer. I try not to get too close to the barrier. There are good spots and bad spots to strafe pump, and you do need to be careful. If you land in any of the zones up there, you could be in deep doo-doo. Generally, this first zone is fine to land in. This is the one you do the more beginner-friendly strat to get out of anyways. This second zone, it's possible to get out of here. It's actually really difficult. There are fewer spots you can do it. There's one like in the back, and then I think you can get lucky sometimes along this rim. I think the third room, I think every room after here is also fine. But generally, if you're new to this and you kind of strafe pump into this second room, you might just want to exit area and try again. You can always play with it yourself, get a feel for what you like and you don't like. Again, notice how I am slowing down a little bit, but once I turn direction, sometimes I get a little bit more speed, as well as sometimes when I turn the bend. So there are, again, right and wrong ways. This is a little bit of a feeling out process. There's a little bit of luck to it as well, I feel, and how good of the speed you can actually preserve. And I think you can actually exit the area up here, if I remember right. Or something. I feel like something jank happened to me at one point. Either way, be careful not to enter this portal before getting, obviously, the egg. And again, this is another one where it's king to be kind of conservative. You don't want to go crazy. You want to control the chaos. So I'm not going crazy. That's going to send me into here, and now I'm doomed. A little bit of a pop. If you don't want to do that one, or if you're just starting out, you can do this one. I recommend, personally, trying to get a strafe pump going into this room. So you've got this animation where you walk into the center. If you do it well enough, you can kind of sometimes skip it. Or sometimes you can kind of make it a wash like that. Either way, if you're starting out, you probably want to kill the snakes in this area. This is we're gonna be shooting somewhere about over here. You can also kind of just go for it. Let me get a safe state right here. Basically, I like to come down and then just go up. So down a little bit. Just to get Agent 9 moving. And then maybe 6 smashes up left into this wall about right here. And if you're having issues, the great thing about this trick is you don't need technique. You can just throw yourself at the wall until something happens. Something will stick. There are a few different places I think you can also do this successfully. Some are better than the others. Obviously that one being one. So you've got your options. This first room is very generous. Shoot yourself around here. You'll have the bad camera angle. Well, honestly, I don't know. It might be easier to do this with this camera angle, I feel. Honestly. Anyway. Grab this egg. Leave the area. Move. So Elucidark has something of a hybrid approach. If you kind of fail this and you end up talking to him, you can come over here, kind of set it up the same way, and end up on top. Similar 5. You'll get this camera, which again is kind of a nicer camera, and then you're good to go. So here are some examples of backups if you land in subsequent rooms. So this is the second room with this camera angle. So this one is very tricky, but still doable. That's probably your best way to go about it. It's the third room with this camera angle. Looks something like that. Let's get a better one. They usually all look the same in that you're throwing yourself up against this top left wall. Here's the fourth room. Oops. Something like that. And the fifth room. Something like that. If you are doing with the normal camera, it'll look a little similar but a little bit different. And again, this second room is still very difficult. It's a little bit of luck to it. Here is the second room for the normal camera. This is the second room for normal camera. A lot of luck to this one. This is probably just better to be saved and exited. Here is the second room with the normal camera. This one is very difficult. Sometimes you can get a pop-up like that. I genuinely think it's probably best if you just exit area if you end up in here. A lot of luck. Well, there's an example. Here is the third room. This one is easier. Oh, I promise. Just like so. Fourth. And fifth. Again, all using kind of that similar upper left wall. Move the cursor. I don't even know if you could see that. Hold square.
I see you.
Down one. Next up, we've got the slide. So, let me get this. Skip that. Ladder. Wow. Okay. So for slides, for this slide, this is the only other slide. You've already covered the other slide. There's a certain point where it's going to grab you. And it's about where this skull starts. It's slightly before. I think it kind of depends on where you are relative to, you know, left or right. So basically, I'm just going to charge, and right before I would touch that skull, I'm going to just jump straight over. Now, it's really not the end of the world if you activate this. Just take it normally. This is a very easy slide. You're not going to miss any gems. So jump over. Sometimes you might be jumping too far back. You just got to accept it. Try not to go backwards on the slide. It gets a little bit weird. So you jump over this corner. Now here, there are a couple different ways you can handle these gems. This one gem is very easy to miss. So typically I like to play it a little bit conservatively and go more right, and then do a jump and a glide like that. And then just get those gems like so. Now you have a lot of like space up here where you're not going to activate the slide, which is why you can take all of these gems pretty comfortably back here. If you run into a situation where you were to... You could also run. Just do this. That's kind of the danger with running, is you might accidentally activate the slide. And you might also still miss the gem. If you miss the gem, say you go too far over, which I think I actually just got it anyways. The way slides work is as long as you haven't activated a slide, it's not active. Once the slide is active, you cannot charge on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So the way you can kind of back this up is you can charge along the inner line right here, all the way up here. And then you get the gem right about here. Jump on down here. As opposed to going on the outside, which will activate eventually like so. So stay on the inside. This is just a backup. And again, since I just activated that, good time to show you. The slide is now active until I think I leave the level. Even though I died, every time I touched the slide in a relevant part, I will not be able to do what I did before and just kind of jump off. Again, this is really only relevant in this one slide. Let me get this so I get a relevant cycle here. So this is Malcolm. He's in the middle of the map. It's actually a reference to the hit TV series Breaking Bad. So after you get him, hold down left. Charge jump. See that snowball here? Pick it up, pivot. We're gonna run all the way around here. Go between these two. And something like that. For this next room, what we're gonna wanna do is try to keep the mummy. Stone cutter? I forget what they're called. Keep the big guy on screen so that he cycles through his snowball throwing as fast as possible. It's gonna look something like this. Make sure to turn the camera L2. You can leave that there and do that. And then shoot that and pick that up. Kind of a little bit of a safer strat. You can also shoot it in there yourself and then do the same thing I just did, or do this little maneuver right here. Let me get that a little bit again. Be careful not to get hit by this guy, which is why I jump left. And obviously, hope, you know, don't get hit by the snowball, which is why you jump out of the way. And then we're going to run over here and jump up left. It's a little bit awkward from a save state. Basically, as he starts to... As you get up there, you're going to start to just hold right. And as he throws it, you're going to jump while holding right. And he's going to throw it down, and then he's going to kill himself. Like so. Jump. You don't want to be too right, because that'll happen. So sometimes you can maybe be a little bit early. That time it worked out, but you can be a little bit early in jumping up here. So you do need to make sure you aren't too far right when he throws it and when you jump. Otherwise, you can back it up pretty easily by just literally picking up the snowball he throws. If I can show you that again. Just spit this. You can spit it on the thing. For these guys, do the thing where you jump charge and hit their hitbox from the top. They'll recover quicker. You can pick up either of those fodder and you're good to go. Hold upright from there. Sorry, down right. And kind of swing yourself out. And you can do this. I recommend always jumping immediately from that guy. If you're not comfortable with that, you can do something a little bit more like that. Or just play it safe. For this section, you're going to swoop around here. And you're going to jump into a glide. Charge jump into a glide into a shoot. And you have a pretty generous area for that guy. So you can make a lot of things work for it. If you mess up, you've got the backup snowball that's going to be spawning right behind you anyways. Or you've got, you know, you could juggle from him. This fodder right here will oftentimes be in your way. So you're probably going to want to jump over him. Circle around here. You can, what I like to do is I kind of like to jump to help aim this. This guy won't be out yet. You don't really technically need to jump. You can kind of just charge straight forward, and I like to line up with this corner right here. This gives you a good, you know, line. For these baskets, it's kind of easy to miss gems because Sparks gets a little bit overwhelmed. But if you just charge straight through the baskets like so, you're good to go. So a clean take might look something like this. Sandbag your movement up these steps. It's kind of easy if you go too fast to miss another one of those gems. 12 years. 12 years. I like to go right to left. Do something like this. You can use analog or D-pad. I'm just used to using D-pad for everything. Honestly, the controls are a little bit jank. You're very slidey, which makes things kind of difficult. Your camera doesn't always line up with you properly, so it can make aiming slightly like obtuse. You can still use your camera shoulder buttons, but L1 and R1 kind of strafe you. And notice like there's a little bit of a, you know, a slowdown before I'm able to kind of switch directions properly. But we're going to rely on these strafing buttons a lot. Square lobs a shot. Circle shoots it straight forward. It goes on for a good bit before it explodes in the air like so. 2 tanks, of course. 2 rounds of tanks. But yeah, to start, I'm going to hold L1 to strafe, and I'm kind of just going to go like zigzaggy between up and right. Get myself going, and I'm going to get ready to lob a square bomb. I'm going to react to wherever this first guy goes. He'll either go right, like that, or he's going to go left. If he goes left, you can always circle, shoot him, but basically I want to shoot a shot, and square gets both sides, whereas circle I can't shoot to the right side, obviously. Typically you will get hit, like so, and you can line up with this guy pretty easily. Swing on over here, take care of these guys however you want, and then I like to take care of that fodder right there. Cleaner look looks like this. You won't always get shot by the second guy. When you do, it's kind of helpful. It gets you momentum going backwards. Another thing is you can off-screen these guys and they will not shoot you. So note, I can kind of see him. He will not shoot me. I'm clearly lined up. Look how much I had to turn before he shot me. A little bit weird on the plant pot here. Or fire pot. Anyway, this fodder I like to shoot if I can. Right after the round. It sets me up for tanks 2. Do be careful if you are going for this. If you shoot very late like I just did, what can happen is when you load into tanks 2, the next shot you take will be a blank. So I think I got it. So if I go and shoot, nothing comes out. So as you're kind of doing your approach here, if you shot really late in that last, tanks 1, just shoot very early. Nothing's going to come of it. Just do it as you're strafing in. So it's a quick note. So let me see if I can get a clean one here. Again, right before I'm about to shoot, I like to hit forward. It brings me a little bit forward, but it also centers the camera a little bit more so on Spyro's direction. That way I know for sure where I'm shooting. Because sometimes you can, the camera doesn't always turn. I guess I misspoke. As you can see here, as I'm dying, centering just snaps Spyro to the center of the camera that you are on. Like so. So I had it backwards. Ignore that. And so that helps me line up my shot, is what I'm trying to say. If you are not comfortable with tanks, you don't have to do a damage manipulation like that. That's fine. Go with your comfort. Now for tanks 2, I'm going to do Lulu's tanks, affectionately called tanks. I recommend this as the only tanks 2 route you learn, as it currently stands at least. It's got a very low skill floor and a very high skill ceiling, and that's just fantastic. So I will do it the best just as I can. We're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to start this way. This guy will, again, either go right or left. Lob a shot with square, just like so, to react to him. It's very important that you do kill this guy. If you don't, you're going to want to turn and kill him. And then you're going to kind of come over here. Now this is what you're going to need to want to... You're going to want to ideally take some save states and play with this. Get a feel for what you can get away with this pot's hitbox. So that goes through. That goes through. That goes through. Get something close here. Can be a little bit deceptive as to what goes through and what doesn't. So that one doesn't go through, even though it looks like it's going to be clean. You see I've got the space right between. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate the guy to move into our shot by moving to the right after we shoot. And we're going to do that for those back 3 guys. This is a fairly safe method for these guys. These guys can actually be pains in the butts. And this is why I want to kill the fodder, because he potentially could be in the way. I'm not sure if you really do have much of an issue with this one. It's the second one in the middle. That's a really big pain in the butt. But anyway, what we're going to want to do is line up. And again, you can even test how far left you can get away with this. As you can see, he's actually already poking out a little bit, because I've been moving right a little bit, so he's already manipulated slightly. If I take this more from the beginning, it's going to look something like this. Shooting straight forward. I pulled back so I can line up here. And again, if you're not sure if something's going to make it through, shoot and go. Hold up right while strafing R1. Take this back here. Try not to wedge yourself here. try to be on the right side of this corner, so you know, what you're going to do is you're going to turn as you do this, and this guy can often hit you or shoot at you, and if you're already over here, you're not going to be able to move and you're going to get shot back. It's going to lose you some time, and again, if you're starting out, you're going to be taking some damage. I can do save states here to help not do the start every single time too. Something like this. Good. Turn. This guy, I believe, can go right or left again. Just do that. Now for this, be careful with this guy. If you come too close, he'll turn and start shooting and moving. He'll shoot first, so you do have a little bit of leeway. If he does shoot at you, if you're standing completely still, you won't get bounced back. So depending on how you line things up here, you could still be fine even if you have to take that shot, if you're confident you're going to kill him. Regardless, try to stay a little bit far back. Shoot him. And then line up for this guy. And again, each of these back row guys are kind of slightly different. So I recommend save stating and playing around with like how they feel each time. That one accidentally killed him. He's sticking out a little bit, but if I were to go closer, like that's probably gonna hit the pot. That won't. So you can get a feel for how much left and how right you can go. Now, like I said, this little fodder is an absolute butthead. He will move kind of anywhere from right here to right in your way. You can also be a little bit more right to do this, and that can kind of help alleviate the fodder. You're gonna have to play with what you feel comfortable with. What I find is I will kind of shoot from maybe further back, which maybe isn't the best. Typically, if I see the fodder, I will line up, shoot once, and move on. Actually hit the plant pot there. Very important to make sure you don't do that. What can happen is if you don't see the fodder, there's a good chance you're going to hit it, is what that means. At least I found. So I will usually shoot and then shoot again. And if it was going to get the fodder, or if the fodder was in the way, it'd kill the fodder. It's not foolproof. Sometimes the fodder can move into your way between the first and second shots. Worst case scenario, you just kind of back up. And this goes the same for the first one. And shoot something similar like that. I found that the right side of these pots is actually a little bit more generous with their hitbox than the left. I don't know if that's necessarily true. So again, you can play with how left and right you want to go. I like to square bomb this guy. I typically don't want to activate him. Same issue with this guy is if you're too far forward, you can move him. That typically isn't an issue. As you can see, I'm decently far forward, but I guess it might have something to do with how you approach too, with a shot or not. Take him out. Take this guy out the same. There's no fodder over here to worry about. And that guy will not be over there. You're going to be moving much swifter than that. Kind of react to how that back guy's going. And you might need to lob one over here. What I'll often find him is he'll still be right here. Depends on how much of him you have on the camera as you turn. And I'll blast him. So that I found, and I believe Lulu found it as well, to be the fastest way to handle tanks too. So a clean run through. It's gonna look something like this. And again, you can take all the time in the world here. You're safe doing this. So, you know, that's why I say it has such a low skill floor. And you can go really fast and you can mess up a bunch. So it's got a high skill ceiling. Who doesn't like that in their speed game? This does take some practice, but if you are going to learn a route, I genuinely recommend this one. I don't think there's a better one to learn. You can also preemptively lob a shot. Get that going. For the last guy, you may find it easier if you accidentally trigger him early to just take him out now. You know, now there's a little bit of a proximity thing. It's not just having him on camera. If we get a little bit closer, he starts to go. So just keep that in mind if you do get him early. Send him a shot over, finish him off. And again, you don't typically take too much damage once you've done it a couple times. You just have to worry about some of the inner tanks, which typically aren't too bad. We're going to leave the area, hold right and square. A couple different ways you can actually handle this. A safe way to do this that's fast is something like this. Jump over top of him and he'll kill himself like that. Slightly faster way to do that. Stay here, keep him on screen, and then this one takes a little bit of like eye timing. Make sure he doesn't throw that into the vase. As you can see, I do a full hop. There's a point where at like the top of your hop where you kind of like slide more onto him. It's like a slow slide. I usually line it up with when I get that 10 gem into the jump. That's when I'll start my head bash. You know, worst case scenario is you miss and you pick this up and you're on your merry way. If you're not comfortable with that, just pick up this fodder. Do that. Good to go. So, very awkward section. Just kind of do your best to keep going. This. Alright. This gets everybody here and there. Aim directly for the side of the sarcophagus. Like so. It's not unusual to like shoot that guy. He'll come out too far forward and you won't break the sarcophagus and your day is ruined and yeah. So. As well, you could also maybe shoot it into that vase. You don't really want to do that. Circle back around. This section, there are a few different ways to handle it. The way I handle it personally, that's the way I find it to be the fastest. We're going to jump through. It's difficult. Get both guys on screen, come forward, and we're going to do a lot of juggling. Just keep them moving. It's very easy to have your snowball lock onto the fodder, even when you're kind of aimed at him. If you're perfectly aimed on him, I don't think you typically have issues, but every now and then that fodder up there is an absolute butthole. A clean take looks something like this. I'm using R2 to keep him on screen early. Turn back to him. And I like to jump towards him and not immediately shoot, because you do need to wait slightly to get him to throw that. You can alternatively just kind of do something like this. I could have gotten 2 snowballs at once. Kill, pick up his, grab this, come up here, shoot that, and I'm good to go. That's also an alternative. There's a few different ways you can handle it that are all similar. This section can be a little bit weird because there's a fodder up here that will break. This entire little ending section is just awkward. I will tend to play... Oops. Pretty aggressive into these, to the point in which Spyro is the one who's just charging through them anyways. I'm not going to rely on sparks. It's very easy to drop a gem here. You can do hoverless here. It's also very easy to get jumped off of that ledge there, so do be careful. But, you know, I could... Oh, look. Sparks didn't pick anything up because he's eating. Come over here. This guy can be off the ledge, so as you charge down, be careful. You might want to flop. Do the same little high jump charge into a flop to recover quicker. And this last section can be handled a couple different ways. An easy way here is you want to turn to that guy to get him to throw. Keep him on screen. As he starts throwing, walk over here. I like to walk past this line with my camera flipped this way, just to make sure. And you can shoot the snowball there. And then you would turn around and you would pick up the snowball that's here. And do something like this. Don't don't wait as much as I did. Come down and grab this. Circle around here. For this ending sarcophagus, typically you catch this guy right as he comes out. Aim for the sarcophagus, not the guy. I can't stress that enough. You can flame charge through this essentially, but if you hit the guy, you'll still break the sarcophagus, but it's more likely that this guy will actually end up in your way. I can show that maybe in a clean take here. Come down here, same manipulation here. And what I like to do here is I like to charge forward, and I like to get sparks to get this gem late. That way I can run straight over this 2 gem. And then, you know, select Atlas Warp. So a clean take will look something like this. We're going to pivot at the 25. Again, make sure to get that guy on screen to get him to throw. As he starts to throw, cross this line, fix your camera, throw. Don't be too close. You can actually throw that at the podium. Come around here. If I make this, I can maybe... he got away a little bit too fast. Just like so. A slightly faster way. We're going to maximize these guys on screen time to bait this more left. Same thing as before. Now when I pick this up, I'm going to jump up here, and I'm going to get him to throw this here. This is kind of the hard part. Picking up the snowball, jumping up here, and having him throw it here. It's very easy for the snowball to come here or here, right on the other side of this ledge, because it just bounces off slightly. Be mindful of where you step on this ledge and where the angle is, the line is. Because if the snowball doesn't land here, you're going to need to quickly jump off the ledge and pick it up. And you're going to want to know if it's on the left or the right here. But basically, this just optimizes this gem collection. You get that now. Here's my example. You know, that guy went right in my way. If I had hit the sarcophagus, it would have been a little bit nicer. So, you know, if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I messed up too much, just play it conservatively. That is Haunted Tomb. I mean, I guess technically when I finish this, it's Haunted Tomb. Next up, we've got Dino Mines. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.